Thanks for stopping in. In this video, I'm going to talk about 3 articles, all pertaining to Bud Light and Anheuser-Busch. First off, I want to talk about this one from the Daily Mail. Oh, goodness. Ultra-Right beer created to rival Bud Light over its disastrous partnership releases limited edition cans featuring Trump's mugshot. That sounds pretty funny, so let's check it out. The company created to protest Bud Light's woke Dylan Mulvaney marketing campaign has launched limited edition cans featuring Donald Trump's mugshot. Former Trump campaign manager Seth Weathers, who is known online as Creative Dad, is behind the brand now peddling the newly decorated beverages. Featuring Trump's mugshot in monochrome on a black background emblazoned with the words 100% American beer, the cans are called Conservative Dad's Revenge, and they cost $25 for a 6-pack plus shipping. That's a pretty steep price, but I guess if you just imagine yourself at a ball game paying them prices, then, it's all the same. But I get it. Priced at $4.99 more than a 6-pack of regular Conservative Dad's Ultra-Right beer. The website pledges to donate 10% of the sales to the GOP Defense Fund in Georgia. I guess, to be honest, on the surface, that 10% donate to the GOP Defense Fund in Georgia, I'm not 100% sure exactly what that is. Although it claims it is not endorsed by Trump, the website echoes the 77-year-old's narrative that he is under fire from corrupt, politically motivated forces who want to sabotage his 2024 White House bid. And I actually agree with that. What they're doing to Trump right now is basically 2024 election interference, in my opinion. That's a standard that was set by the Democrat House of Representatives when they went after Trump for investigating Biden after Biden bragged about getting the prosecutor fired, on TV. On camera, tax dollars, essentially, against Ukraine to get the prosecutor fired. But continuing, they are sold online alongside the caption, "Each cell defends conservatives against the unconstitutional protection by the communist Fulton County District Attorney. It's time for conservatives to stand up and refuse to back down," CEO Weathers said in a statement. "We're doing our part, peacefully and legally, of course. We're doing our part to fight the communists running the Fulton District Attorney's office by raising money for our Georgia friends who have been unjustly indicted." Weathers ran Donald Trump's 2016 campaign in Georgia, where his company is headquartered. He said he launched the Ultra-Right beer company to make a light brew for those who are looking for a beer free from progressive messaging. Just weeks after launching, Weathers said they had gained more than 12,000 customers and sold 20,000 six-packs. His decision to launch the beer came after Bud Light partnered with Dylan. Since then, Anheuser-Busch has been accused of meddling in one of the most... So then let's check out the second article. So that's pretty funny. Kind of like a collector's edition type thing that they're selling. It's a great idea because the can looks cool. The mugshot looks cool. And I might have to actually order me a 6-pack now that I think about it. But let's continue over to this other article. Dylan Mulvaney says it'd be epic to do a Super Bowl beer ad after Bud Light saga. For who? Everybody knows that Budweiser does the best beer Super Bowl ads. I'm sure they're sparing no expense this year. And how stupid would it be for them to put Dylan in it again? What? No company's going to do that. That's just funny. That's insane. But anyways, let's look into this. Transgender influencer Dylan Mulvaney said it would be epic to one day star in a beer advertisement at the Super Bowl, just months after the disastrous partnership with Bud Light sparked widespread backlash. Mulvaney, 26, fantasized about the future as confessed in a wide-ranging interview with The Cut that the fallout from the Bud Light saga had been a huge wake-up call for her. I'm reading the article, guys. "Maybe it'd be epic if in 10 years I got to do a beer commercial for the Super Bowl," said in an interview published Wednesday. I just guess this person hasn't learned their lesson. Maybe this has actually helped them. Well, I'm sure it did. It made them more famous. And we're only left to guess if this has actually benefited Dylan financially or not. My guess is maybe it has. The influencer, who rose to social media stardom documenting her transition on TikTok, said she now realizes in the wake of Bud Light fallout that she was naive about the realities of being a trans woman in the public eye. You were naive? Well, I don't know what Dylan was thinking. Probably just thought money to do an ad. And with that being the case, I don't know what was naive about it. Maybe the person should have just said no in the first place. No, I'm not relatable to that. I'm not good for that brand. You know what I mean? Instead of acting entitled, I guess, maybe that's what they're naive about. They're so entitled that they just thought that they were doing the bathtub thing was a good idea. I'm sure Dylan realizes, and if they don't, they should by now. So weird saying they about a single person. But if they don't by now realize that there's more to this boycott than just the Dylan partnership, you know, the insults from Heinerschneid and everything else that's come in the wake of the debacle has resulted in getting us to where we are right now. And Anheuser-Busch down $20-30 billion in market cap, pretty much a permanent 30% withdrawal in sales and volume on a week-over-week basis for Bud Light, 10 to 12% drop off for Budweiser, all while seeing Modelo pass Bud Light and become the number one light beer in America, right? Number one selling beer in America. Well, I would say that it looks like Dylan is still naive. What beer companies looking at this and going, oh, I can't wait to partner with Dylan. Goodness. And let's go over here to this final article about Bud Light, where former Anheuser-Busch, it's from Breitbart, former Anheuser-Busch executive Anson Fredericks has called Bill Gates' nearly $100 million investment into Bud Light stock a mistake. Well, that's pretty interesting. Let's check it out. Gates acquired 1.7 million shares of Anheuser-Busch InBev through the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation Trust during the second quarter of 2023, Breitbart News reported. You know, go figure, nearly $100 million into a company at the time like this. You know what I mean? It makes sense why the stock was actually performing a little bit better than you'd think it would, considering the sales were down at the rate they were, right? Bill Gates propped it up. And it's scary to think about the manipulation that this guy could possess potentially. And I don't know anything about stocks, so this is not financial advice, but it's scary to me to consider that that guy has this many shares. And if I was a shareholder in Anheuser-Busch myself, I would be concerned that when he goes to sell, my stock would decrease dramatically. I think that's how that works, but that would be my concern. Fredericks pointed out how the tech tycoon already invested $900 million into one of Anheuser-Busch InBev's largest rivals, Heineken, and since the investment, the stock has been down 10%, Fox News Digital reported. So if I was looking for advice on investing in software companies, tech companies, I might go to Bill Gates, Fredericks said on Cavuto Coast to Coast. But if you're looking at the beer industry, it doesn't have a great track record of investing in winners at this point. Fredericks also pointed out how it probably would not resonate with the average beer drinker that Bill Gates acquired nearly $100 million in stock with Bud Light, and that's exactly what I think. Most of the people, I would venture to say that since this has been labeled a right-wing, which I disagree with, but it's been labeled by the media, a right-wing backlash or a right-wing boycott, and I disagree because there's, you know, gay bars in Chicago and things that have just completely stopped selling Anheuser-Busch over this, so it's more than right-wing, but considering that they would call it right-wing, I'm going to go on a limb and say that most of those folks don't necessarily appreciate what Bill Gates is doing to society today and nowadays, right? Pretty much anything he does seems to be pretty much disagreeable to these folks that are participating in the boycott, the movement where people would just basically quit buying Anheuser-Busch products and started drinking other beers. They'd probably be better off with maybe somebody who is more of the everyman type of person, maybe like a Rob Gronkowski or somebody like that was investing in Anheuser-Busch, not necessarily somebody like Bill Gates, Fredericks said. Yeah, and like I said, I 100% agree with that. Just doesn't sit right with me. Bud Light used to be the best-selling beer in America until the brand partnered with Mulvaney. Beer Business Daily publisher Harry Schumacher said the beer giant has permanently lost customers. You see, Bud Light's still just stubbornly down about 30% in volume compared to last year, which is where it's been since May or June, Schumacher stated. That tells me that this is quasi-permanent, meaning those customers are just lost forever. Since August, Bud Light sales have been down around 26.9%, according to Bump Williams Consulting. Fredericks said by marketing with Mulvaney, the beer giant showed it was more concerned with embracing the needs of stakeholders than its stakeholders. ESG scores and DE&I, they're trying to, increase those numbers. There's one camp that says that Anheuser-Busch, they have a fiduciary responsibility to their shareholders and to take a look at just providing great products and services to their shareholders, Fredericks says. That's also the camp that I am in. to echo Frederick's. And furthermore, to take it another step, I don't understand why these shareholders, which I am not one, aren't calling for the resignation or firing of the CEO. The stock is down $20-30 billion in market share. And that's on the heels of Anheuser-Busch stock actually being at a higher note. It was on the rise. Literally until like the day that the April 1st when the video came out with Dylan. It just seems common sense in the business world to me that when a CEO makes such a drastically poor decision or is made under his oversight or her oversight, but it's him in this situation, they should be certainly fired. It's as simple as that. There's no suspension. There's no nothing. It's like this guy has to be held accountable. From what I understand, there's actually a legal fiduciary responsibility to their shareholders. And that guy might have broken that as well. You know, I'm not saying that the guy needs to be put in jail or anything, but I just don't understand why he still has his job. And I'm sure many shareholders out there could agree. I'm going to go ahead and cut it off there. Hope you enjoyed this video. Please hit that like button. Also, subscribe to the channel. And I will see you guys in the next one.